Hey folks, how are ya? Mara and Johanna Miller here of Love Bubbles Heal and of Love Rock Residue. I was a guest on a podcast called Love Light and Go Fuck Yourself, and the first part came out last week. Part 2 is coming out this week, and I have been in so much gratitude as the week has progressed. Initially, after recording the podcast, it felt really good to be a part of it, to share, to speak my truth, and to be with Jessica and to be with Kayla. I really felt facilitated well and felt like it was an incredible conversation, and kind of a bonus that it was recorded, I guess. So it's been a week, and it's been a journey in terms of initially feeling nervous when I heard or got the message that it was going to actually be posted and it was out there. And there was excitement. There was worry that I didn't say things right, I didn't say the right words, I missed something, I omitted something. And I shared a little bit of that in my stories. And I just wanted to kind of share where I am now, a week into it or a week later, in anticipation of part 2. And 2 learnings that I have gathered over the week. And I guess wanting to model that this is also part of the work of seeking information, learning more, integrating the information, and then being open to feedback and being open to making mistakes and being open to making potential missteps or not, but being open to the learning of it all, consistently, constantly cycling through that. I initially was nervous, as I mentioned, but the nervousness subsided when I realized that, again, this is part of the work, that any and all feedback that I received, I have built muscles around receiving that feedback. I have built muscles around communicating, and no matter what the feedback, I will be okay. I will be okay receiving it. I will be okay integrating it, and I will be okay potentially changing my language, my behavior, whatever the feedback might have been about. And that's, again, part of it all, of the journey, and the constantness of the journey, that the work is never done, because there's potentially always going to be something new to learn, to integrate, and to attempt to step out anew with your new information. So, thank you to those who have listened to Love, Light, and Go Fuck Yourself with Jessica and Kayla. Part 1, again, has been out for a week, and part 2 will be coming out tomorrow. And if you haven't listened, please do. I really do appreciate and want any and all feedback that people are willing to share. I wanted to share that I got some feedback from folks that I deem as mentors, that I deem as leaders in anti-racism, that I deem as positive white role models in my life. We need those. Do you have positive white role models in your life? Who are they? And how do you utilize them in your life? Because not only do we need to listen and receive feedback from people of color, from Black, Indigenous people of color, Black, brown, indigenous people of color. I feel like I left out indigenous people a lot. I didn't say that. So that was one thing that I was concerned about. The other thing I was concerned about was my laughter and how people would potentially receive that. I feel like it was laughter in the realm of it felt so good to be in that space with Jessica and Kayla, and I felt comfortable and I felt useful. But I also, that was one thing I was concerned about that stood out to me. But going back to the feedback that I have received and want to instill to you is, one, the mentioning at the very beginning of the podcast that this topic is up right now. And the question was deemed to me or shared with me, this is up for who? Well, this is up for white people right now, right? That this subject, race, and the experience of race is nothing new to people of color in this country. It is only new and still continues to be new to white people who are waking up, who are finally or eventually or now receiving information that they're able to hear and are actually wanting, or curious or open to hearing that there is another perspective, that there is another experience of this country. So just wanted to name that this conversation is up, but it's only up for white people, right? And so again, getting curious about that. Why is that the case? What are the patterns or systems or reasons that would be the case, that talking about race, that understanding ourselves as racial beings, that understanding that race is a social construct, that whiteness is as a default is something that's new to folks. And again, not to be shameful or not to feel shameful or have guilt around that, but to remain curious about that, right? There is actually a reason for that. We are carefully taught not to see it, to not understand it, and that is part of why there are so many folks who don't know and who are new to this information. So wanted to say that, and then two, trying to get myself under 10 minutes here, two, the idea that I shared of whiteness as a default, and that naming whiteness or white people is in itself poking the system. It absolutely is. It's speaking the truth. It's saying out loud. It's poking. It's naming something that's not named. But I was pushed and poked by a white woman friend, who someone, again, I deem as a mentor, and I really value her opinion. She reminded me that it's not just enough to name whiteness, or that's a white woman or a white man, because we name black men and brown men and indigenous women. We other people very easily and quickly, and that's just part of our language and system. It's not just about naming whiteness. The next step is to get curious about the experience that you're having in the body that you're in the white body that you're in. What is your white experience that you are having in any situation that you're in? Are you comfortable? Are you uncomfortable? Are you angry? What are the feelings that you have? What is happening to your body? Are you disengaged? Are you tired? Are you stuck? Are you in disbelief? What is it that you are experiencing as a white person? What are the thoughts, beliefs, narratives that are potentially popping up for you in the scenario or experience that you are in? And I'm going to run out of time, and so I'm going to leave it at that. Please listen to Love, Light, Go Fuck Yourself. There are 2 parts to me being a guest. And I really appreciate you all listening and sharing your feedback.